Head chop today, head chop today. The duck is not gonna do a head chop today. And I probably am. I've tried putting this thing up a bit higher. Hopefully I'm not doing another head chop. Yeah. Old Sexy's nearly back together and we're nearly close for a start up on the bench. Getting pretty excited about it, and I know the owner will be too. But before I do that, I'm going to go and have a cup of coffee and a couple of things I wanted to go through with the lifters. Not so much with the lifters, but I was just going to touch on it again. So the start procedure for when you put in the oil pump, obviously you have the spark plugs out of the cylinder heads. You put the spark plugs into the leads, put jumper leads on the spark plug and then on the spark plugs, and then put the jumper lead somewhere back onto the bike. And then it's just a simple case, in this case, of connecting the battery, winding the bike over with no compression. Once again, listening for any noises that we heard, because we just done the valve adjustment, and if all that sounds good, what we're doing is watching that the oil light goes off, especially when we've put a new oil pump in, right? And then we put the oil, turn it over until the oil pump light goes off, and then we turn the ignition off. Well, what I did yesterday is I turned the ignition off. Say again, turn it over, see the ignition, the oil light go off, and then we just stop cranking it and wait for, see how long, make sure the oil light comes back on again, and do it again. And basically that just primes all the engine, all its insides. It starts pumping oil through all the engine and everything, and pre-primes it before you start up. And you always do this when it involves hydraulic lifters, oil pumps, engine rebuilds. You never put bloody hook the battery up and just start them, because there's a certain amount of time you'll find that engine will be running dry, right? And personally myself, I don't believe in putting stuff together dry with no oil when I'm putting components in. So the cam and everything had oil in it. But what I wanted to talk to you about today, really, again, and I know I've touched on this before, but I'm going to do it again, is when we're putting these exhaust systems on. I'll just see if it's in the shot, because you know, I know you want to look at my face all the time. Yeah, right. Put the exhaust system on, and what we do is we don't have this tailpipe on. If you've got this tailpipe on, then you've got to have someone else to take the weight, and it's just too much, right? So what I do is I take that arse bit off, so the extractors are just by themselves, and I put the extractors on, and then I do start the nuts, and I do the nuts up evenly, and then try and get the even amount of thread out of both sides of the nut, and that ensures that the plate that is pulling that exhaust in is pulling it up evenly. And I do it a little bit there, little bit here, little bit there, little bit there, and I take, so they sort of shuffle up even, right? Then when I get those cranked up to what I think is tight, I mean, there is for 5/16 UNF. It'll be something like, I can't even quote you though. It'll be like 25 Newton meters or something. But anyway, I do it off field. I've been doing it for so long. Okay, so you do these ones up in here and you try and keep them both even. You put 5, 6, 7 thread lock on them. If you do that, they'll come off, right? And in here as well, right? And I haven't smeared, like I'm going to smear those studs with 5, 6, 7 thread sealer on the end. Okay, and they're pretty even, right? And the next thing we do is we put this bracket on down in here. This is, I've spoken to you people about this before. So this clamp is the one what holds the extractors, right? It keeps it at the right distance from the engine. Now, lots of times guys do away with this clamp. You see the clamp bolt in behind here. And you just can't do away with it. This is looking up at this from underneath at the setup, and you can see how I've put that little bit of flat bar between the mount on the engine and the extractors, right? And I've told you before, but I'll tell you again because there's lots of new people watching me on YouTube now. It is this you'll find, like Harley Davidson in the manuals will tell you that this bolt goes through here, right? And what that does, if you do it the way I said and you bolt them up onto the heads first, the extractors, then you will find that this hole won't line up. And whatever you do not push that exhaust system in to get that bolt through there, right? It is the fastest way to F your exhaust, and that is what causes cracking in the exhaust system, right? This from here to here is about 2 inches, and if you have a look from here to here is about, I'd say it's about 2 inches, and then that plate there, right, is got a slight twist in it. That's what I do, you see. So if this flat bar doesn't look like it's going to bolt up flat onto this one or this one, I put it in the vise and put a slight twist in that flat bar, and then it gets to bolt up nice and tight. You do this up, both of these up tight at that point, and then this one here, right, that's where the front extractor goes into the 2-into-1, right? Okay, and what I do is I'll leave that one loose and I'll start the engine up and run it, and then if there's any if there's any stress between this pipe and that pipe, difference from them bolting up the head, when the engine heats up and cools down, it will stress release itself, right? So that is what I'll do after I've started the engine. So you've got the extractors bolted up tight, you've got this one here bolted up tight, that one is loose, right? And then the next one is the muffler, right? And I put a good amount of that 5, 6, 7 thread stealer in there. It takes 2,500 degrees, so it's a perfect thing for exhaust. Spread it in there, and then I do up the back bolts what hold the holding bar, right? So that's the holding, comes off the gearbox, right? Comes long. I made all this, as a lot of you would know. And then I do these bolts up say again, I put these bolts in, right? And then you do up the clamp for the muffler going on to the extractors, right? You do it up a little bit firmly, and then you do these up a little bit firmly so that this plate here is flat with this, the weight holder or the support arm, right? Then you do this up fully tight, then that will set the muffler at the right height you want, and then come back and do these ones up. These should be, I mean, for whatever reason I obviously was doing something else and I'd back these off to do something else. I think it was when I was doing the pipe work in here or something. And then you do these up at the last, right? So you do this up first, nip these up in here so they're holding it flat. That's this one, you do this one first because that sets the angle of the tailpipe, right? Then you do these ones after, that clamps it to the bike, and then you do these last, and that sets it all up. And then if you follow that procedure, what I said, hang on a minute, I'm probably going to have to do the crouch thing. If you follow that procedure on these 2-into-1 systems, you won't have cracking, right? And cracking on the pipes, any cracking on the pipes is a sign that whoever put those pipes on did not do it properly. It means that they're stressed out. Exhausts cannot be stressed out. You have to bolt them to the engine and then work away from the engine. So it's all stress-free. And then if the mounting, the support plates or arms that hold that system do not line up, then you alter and change those support arms. You never push this exhaust in or pull it out or do anything like that, because the moment that you do that, you are changing the angle of these heads of the exhaust where they bolt up onto the head. If you do that, they will leak. That's the first thing. The second thing is it will stress the exhaust out and start them to crack, and it's just downhill from there from that on. From then on. Anyway, that's probably going to be it. Next one, she's start up. So I'll just do a live startup. I'll probably just put the dummy tank on it and fire her up. And if you haven't seen the dummy tank, you've got another duck education coming. All right, I hope you're having a good one. I'm having a good one, and I hope you're enjoying the head chops. And whatever you do, don't like this video. That's just wrong. Later.